Right, you got your water now.
I've got my water.
Yeah.
Nice
Do you need anything else before we start?
Sat
Need
down,
a wee?
Need a wee. No, I'm all right. Been to the
Right.
toilet. Still need to go again, though.
At your age, this is going to be 40 minutes. You're going to be all right.
The Tyre Kickers Classic Car Chat with Max and Matt.
Right then, buy your beds. We're back with another episode of The Tyre Kickers.
It's the podcast that gives you a 40-minute break from looking at cars on the internet.
Because you know what happens if you do that too much?
Yes, you go blind. Anyway, let's see what we've got coming up.
The Tyre Kickers.
In this episode, Matt has sold his Sunbeam, and you've got a long list of what car he should get next.
Also, we'll ask, can you polish in a profit? What's the best way to get the best money when you come to flog your pride and joy?
And I'm in the club. Or maybe I shouldn't be. Either way, we want to know, are classic car clubs a joy to join, or do you risk death by dull conversation?
So zip up your anorak and get ready to say, oh, that's not original, as we park up episode 36 of The Tyre Kickers.
Classic car chat with a UK slant. This is The Tyre Kickers.
So then, Max, normally I'll have some chat about where I've been or what I've done with my Sunbeam Alpine, but as we spoke about last time, I've sold it. So do you know what? I've got nothing to say.
God, there's a first.
Hey, cheeky git.
You've never been lost for words as long as I've known you. So here's a question though. What do you do with your time? Because nothing's leaking oil on the drive, your clothes probably don't stink of fuel, and there's nothing to look at when you're parked up in the pub car park.
Yeah, well, this is true. I think the oil's still on my driveway. I've tidied up the garage, actually, since I've sold it. I've said this to you before, like old cars are like, you know, when you get man flu and you sort of retreat to bed and then your bedroom just becomes a tip surrounded by all the sort of tissues and tablets that you've been given and some ointment. Well, your old car is a bit like that. So I cleared out 4 years of kind of tat that had built up around the car in the garage.
I mean, it might be valuable. What is it?
It might be. I had to sort it out into boxes, actually. Some stuff to chuck, some stuff to keep, and some stuff to eBay. I mean, there was still stuff left over from when I redid the dashboard about 2 years ago, just in boxes and shoe boxes and stuff. You can see why people become hoarders. But I got rid of a massive sort of carload of stuff to the tip. And God, that's satisfying, isn't it? Going to the tip and just getting rid of stuff. You know, stuff that's been.
This is part of the Sunbeam's heritage, and it's past it's past history. Why is that satisfying? I think you should keep that stuff.
Oily rags and all that sort of stuff, and broken bits, and stuff that spares that I'd taken off the car and not chucked. So it's quite nice going to the tip and chucking stuff away. The thing I like about it is that when you drive away your car and it's empty and you've got rid of stuff. I don't know if you've been to tip recently, but they've kind of got very uptight about what you put in. Got to put that in there. Is that metal?
Well, they're wearing cameras, like paramilitaries now, aren't they? They're wearing cameras on their outfits.
That's right, yeah. Fortunately, this one I went to was quite chilled and they were quite helpful, so it was just quite nice to get rid of that. So I've boxed up some junk for eBay. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I've boxed up some quality stuff that I will be selling on eBay, some Sunbeam spares, so keep your eye out for that. And now I just need to hoover out the garage for the next one. I did, though, think about painting the floor because there's no car in it at the moment.
No.
Well, I thought about it.
Only YouTubers in America paint their garage floors. It's just a really, really anal thing to do.
It looks cool, though.
Oh, no, it doesn't. It looks naff.
Well, it does look cool. The trouble is I read up on what you had to do it. And I thought it was about a 6-stage process.
Forget it.
I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. It'll just be concrete.
But
it is largely ready for the next car. I think I just need to hoover it out, and then I've got a space to fill.
Okay, so you've done all the hoovering. I'm very impressed. You've done your duties around the house. But the big question is, what are you going to get?
Well, I haven't had really a lot of time to look at one. I sort of squeezed in a holiday between the last episode and this one.
A holiday between your work breaks.
Work's got in the way as well. So I've looked at a couple of things, which I'm happy to talk about, but I've not really found anything yet.
Right.
The couple of things have been a bit disappointing. We talk about tyre kicking all the time, hence the name of the show, and it's probably one of our favourite things. But it's really frustrating. Now I've got the time to do it. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of it, and what I've done has been really disappointing. And I've had 2 cars that I've looked at that have both been, when I've got up close, I've just thought, oh no. So anyway, first one, 1971 Mercedes Coupe, one of those 114s.
Nice, yeah. I like those,
long sort of, not the taxi, but the coupe with the drop-down windows. So you've got pillarless windows.
Lovely.
A 114. Now, I got excited about this It had a respray and a retrim, and the photos and the videos, it just looked great. And we've talked about these cars before. They look sort of gangster cool, don't they? And I did a bit of research. You'll be surprised now, and it would fit into my garage, so that's a good thing. So I got excited, and I went to have a look at it. It was local, and it was one of those 10 feet away cars. And as I got closer, my heart just sort of sank. How do I describe this? You know, you get a feeling with a car, and then the more you look at it,
the worse it gets.
Yeah, because it was one of those cars where everything you touch needed fixing. So the visor didn't quite stay up. The window winder didn't quite work. You know, there was a bit of broken trim. The indicator didn't work. You got a feeling that the car hadn't been loved.
Oh, and also, you know, if those little things haven't been fixed, then the big things haven't been fixed either, because either somebody's not had the time or the inclination or usually the money to get all the detail right.
Yeah, it's a good sign, isn't it, that actually it's not really been loved for. And those little things actually on a car like that are going to add up to big things. You know, a bit of broken trim on a 70s Mercedes, you try tracking that down. That's going to have to come from Germany, isn't it? It's going to cost a fortune. And as you say, when you then lifted the bonnet, looked at the engine looked unloved. So I took it out for a test drive anyway. You know, I took the opportunity to get out in it. And God, that was disappointing, Max, as well. I mean, it was boat-like. It was wallowy. I mean, you know, we're like 1 minute into the drive and there was a knocking coming from the near side front. It's just a suspension, so you think bills. Then I was sort of thinking, well, do they all drive like this? You know, because it was...
No, I mean, they do drive quite nicely because they're based on the saloon, aren't they? And the saloon is a really nice drive. But what it does need to be, it needs to be fresh. The suspension needs to be exactly right. All the bushes need to be, well, new. And I'm guessing it was just worn suspension, and they drive like a sloppy mess.
Yeah, exactly that. And even though I thought, my God, it probably looked quite cool driving this, it just didn't feel cool.
No, it's still you behind the wheel.
Cheeky git. I got my question in, though. I've got a question that I like to fire in halfway through the test drive. You know, when you just chat. When they've sort of the sellers drop their guard a bit because you know you're driving and it's not broken down. I ask the question, have you ever broken down in it?
Right.
And then I say nothing. And then you always get an instant. It's very hard for someone to lie in that situation because they haven't been expecting that question. So you just say, "Bit broken down in it." The seller of this one said, "Yeah, I have." Okay, that's it. I'm out.
There we are. Last week.
It's not for me. So I would like to drive another one of those. One of our listeners, actually, Mr. Doberbenz, has offered me to have a go in his, so I might do that because I think
they really are susceptible to fresh suspension bits. You know, they really need to be well looked after and well maintained to get the best drive out of them.
The trouble is, it's the second 114 I've driven, and the first one wasn't great either. I took one out from a car dealer, and the track rod end fell off.
That would suggest that the suspension's not up to the greatest levels.
And then I've looked at one more car, and you're going to love this: Triumph Stag.
Oh, for God's sake! Okay.
No, you know, I've got a sort of Achilles heel with these. Now, I had a red one in my sights that I'd been keeping an eye on, and it looked great. You know, you're after a sorted Stag if you're going to go for a Stag, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Loads of work done, an MOT on it with only a couple of minor advisories. So, you know, it was a couple of hours away from me. It was all looking good. Pictures were good. Price was in the right zone. It looked really smart, and it looked like it had the right things done to it, like the cooling sort of stuff as well. Like the current owner had spent a bit of money on it. So I was having a good combo with the seller, and then they just went silent. And it was about time I was sort of saying, right, can I come and look at it?
Oh, you mean not face-to-face conversation? This is a text conversation.
Yeah, text conversation. I'd had a good backwards and forwards, and then it came to the crunch, you know, when are you free? Oh, my husband's away, and, you know, I can't do this, I thought, okay. I thought you wanted to sell it. Okay, a couple of days go past. And then I just couldn't raise the seller at all. I couldn't fix the appointment. Another couple of excuses came, and then the bombshell, Max.
Right.
It's got an overheating problem. It's like, whoa,
what a Stag with an overheating problem. No, surely not.
Hang up the phone. Bye.
Bye.
And I just thought, oh no, because otherwise it just looks so perfect. It was absolutely spot on.
The thing is, those overheating problems, there's like 4 different problems with Stags, isn't it, with overheating? So anything can go wrong, and it's always expensive. And plus, you know, that's the first thing you do with a Stag. You fix the overheating problems, because that was what they were so famous for. So if you haven't done that first, what have you done, or what have you not done with the rest of the car?
Well, no, I mean, that's right. I mean, it's the worst. It's a kiss of death on those cars to say it's got overheating problems, because you're right. It's either the water pump, the expansion tank, corrosion, or one of like 2 other things, isn't it, with a Stag? But I had a thing. I wanted to go and see a Stag. So I did a bit of digging around. I found one that wasn't advertised in the usual places. It was a bright blue one, and it was being brokered by a specialist. Now, the specialist told me it was a really great car mechanically. It was one he knew. He'd known the previous seller and the current seller. So again, it looked good in photos, and I got a good feeling about it. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to drive, what was it, like an hour and a half away to go and see that. But again, Max, 3 foot away car. You know, I got closer. I started walking around, and there was loads of little bits that needed sorting on kind of every panel. And my sort of heart sunk really, because just, oh no, you know, all Stag's going to be like this. There was, I tell you, it's little things. It's like wires hanging down in the footwell, and you just.
I mean, that's how they came out of the factory. It is a British Leyland car after all.
Actually, it's properly original.
Yeah.
Still got the bad bodged workmanship.
Just falls apart.
I think if you're selling your car, just tuck all that stuff away, you know, and also sort the trim out and sort the little bits that just need doing. Just go around the car like you're a buyer and go around and look. It had little, you know, a couple little dents and a bit that's chrome trim wasn't nice and that sort of stuff, but it was still toppy money as well.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? People are convinced that their cars are worth a fortune, but then when you go and see them, like you say, you know, 3 feet, 10 feet away, you can just pick up that things are wrong on it. It's just a kind of sixth sense. It just looks wrong. It feels wrong. So you've got to put some effort into getting these cars right if you want good money.
I did take it for a test drive though. I thought, okay, I need to get behind the wheel of this because it might drive. Because the guy, the specialist, had said, "Oh, it drives really well," that sort of stuff. And the drive wasn't great either. The brakes were really spongy. It just felt a bit loose. You know, again, suspension didn't feel very tight.
That is how it came out of the factory.
So, yeah, it might be one of those things. Maybe a Stag isn't for me. I do feel the need to drive and see another one though, because
I think like all of these things, you've got to see a good one because you can see plenty of tat out there, but you do need to find that good one. Maybe you should go to a specialist and drive their best. Well, obviously with no intention of paying the top money for it. And just you've got something to compare against then.
The trouble is, though, it's a bit like the Mercs, like your Mercs or the 107s. The prices are all over the shop. People are asking crazy money for stuff, but that's just decent, you know? They're asking concours prices for decent. I mean, a Stag, I'll give you an idea of the market at the moment. They're very much like SLs, actually, in terms of pricing. You're looking at about $8,000 to $38,000. So prices are all over the shop. So the mid-range is where you want to be, I think. But I think I'm going to have to do a bit more digging to see if I can find one. Or I might just have to walk away from Stags again, you know, for like the third time. But I don't know. We'll see.
Will it finally stop you talking about them if you walk away? Can we have a Stag ban?
Yeah, we can do. I just need to put it to bed. I need to drive another one. I'll go and see if I can find a good one. But the hunt goes on. I wanted to go and see that gold Mercedes SLC we talked about
that was
a couple of episodes back. The price has just dropped on that as well. So I might go and see that. I've got some other stuff on my list as well. I need to find something good, I think. But I need to, I do need to kick some tires and find something good.
The Tire Kickers.
Well, I don't think you're making enough progress, to be honest, but our listeners have got more than a clue and some suggestions of what you should drive. So Mark Dempsey on Instagram says it should be a 1980s air-cooled 911 3.2 G-body. Now, they're fantastic. I mean, they just drive brilliantly. They are expensive and they do need a lot of upkeep, but a 1980s 911.
I haven't got the budget for that. I mean, how much is one of those?
I mean, yeah, again, like the Stag, the prices are all over the place of 911s, particularly the G-bodies. He does say, on that basis, I've listened to every episode of your podcast since the beginning. Sorry. I can only recall Matt liking two cars. It will either be a TR6 or a Stag.
Well, yeah, he's right on that, but that's a bit unfair, Mark. I mean, I've on this podcast, I've liked Jag Coupes. We've talked about those a lot. Alphas, like 105s and Alpha Spiders. Lancia Fulvias, I really fancy one of those. Alvises I've talked about, I like Mercs, Rollers, old Citroens.
Yeah, but interestingly, you've not test driven any of those cars you've just listed, but you have test driven a Stag.
Well, this is true. Maybe I do. I mean, the Jag. So we'll get into this later on, maybe. But there's certain things put me off certain cars. I don't know enough about Porsches, for example, to take one of those on. Jags scare me.
Here's the key about Porsches: it's just expensive. Okay, I mean, whatever you do to it is expensive.
Well, talking about expensive, Farm Strip Flying on Insta, he suggested a Piper Cub. Oh. Has he got the right show?
Well, to be honest, a Cub does leak a lot of oil, and it does make your clothes smell of avgas. So it does kind of like suit those classic car things. It's just a bit more complicated to drive.
It does. What's the saying? If it flies, floats, or anyway, move on.
Anyway, Steve Clicky Clark on Instagram reckons a Triumph Stag will be right up your street. There's a kind of idea that you're going to end up with a Stag coming from the audience. He says, make sure it's fully sorted, though. I mean, the Stag has to be right, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bad feeling that one I saw is going to put me off them. It's a dangerous buy, isn't it, a Stag? Because if it's not sorted, it's going to a whole heap of trouble. Lots of content for the show, though.
Yeah, exactly. Steve Clicky Clark, I just said that again because I like his name.
Yeah.
He also suggests, if you want to go soft top, a BMW 325 E30 convertible. Now, I was saying that to you about a year ago. I think they're fantastic. MGB money, but kind of 1980s BMW, and it handles.
I said in the last show, didn't I, that I want something chromy that I can get excited about because it's a bit chromy and different. So no on that one, really. What else we got? Let's have a look. Jago Brett. Oh, yes. And he's suggesting an MGB GT V8, as you've done before, or an MGC GT.
Yes.
No. No. Scimitar GTE SE5.
Princess Anne.
15k probably you reckon would buy me a top car. Or no, can't get excited about those. Or another BMW, a CSI, BMW CSI.
Yeah, expensive.
That's really expensive.
Yeah.
He's got another suggestion, left field, he says, a Jensen Healey GT. Now, this was the one that the kind of kooky one they made, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That he likes.
I had that 2-litre Lotus engine, and I think it was fiberglass as well. That's what Donald Healey came up with after the Austin Healey finish. Not a huge fan of those, to be honest, but he did say the Jensen word. What about an Interceptor?
Yeah, we sat in an Interceptor, didn't we? The Historics auction. What about this one here? You found one that you've just shoved under my nose here. 1974 one. 45 grand. Now that's,
ignore the price. Ignore the price. But it's an Interceptor.
It does look cool.
And I always think about the Interceptors. You know, you get that kind of British body and you get the amazing American engine, and they drive really nicely. I mean, they don't look that great from the back, but if you just look at them from the front, it's an Interceptor. The problem is it's the name, isn't it? Because you can't say, I'm just going to pop down the shops for a pint of milk in the Interceptor. Because you sound like some kind of espionage thing, isn't it? But I think an Interceptor is a great choice. Nice big car, drives nicely, but I don't get the sense you like it.
I think I think this one looks great. It's in a really nice dark metallic blue, and it looks really, really smart. I can't get that excited about it, and the one I sat in I wasn't that excited about. Has it got Triumph Stag door handles? Did this?
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit part spin, but if you just ignore the part spin side of it and you just look at it from the front, an Interceptor's a perfect choice.
A bit toppy on the money. I think the one in my budget would probably come with lots of extra rust holes in it. So maybe not. What else have we got?
Daniel Thomas McMurty thinks you should try a 1974 Datsun 260Z he saw for sale at a car show. He sent the photograph. Pacific Blue, 74,000 miles, owned for 40 years. Now, those Datsun 240s, 260s, maybe not the 280s, they're really nice cars. Great looking cars. Again, great MGB alternative. Nice to drive. Rust a bit, but mostly been restored by now. What about a Datsun 260?
A bit.
A lot.
Datsun was Japanese for rust, wasn't it? It's a good kooky choice. It doesn't get me tingling, though. Few other suggestions. I mean, what else have you got? Let's chuck one of your own in.
I was searching this week for cars, as usual. And how about the best car ever made? A Mercedes W123. Now, have a look at this one. It's a 230e. It's a 1982. It's in really nice Mercedes royal blue. I think that's a genuine factory colour, isn't it? The royal blue. It's got a lovely light interior. A fantastic car to tool around in because you're just going to rely on it. It's not going to break down. It's going to be relatively cheap to fix. And I think the W123 saloons are really, really cool. It's got the factory sunroof as well.
Do you know what? It's nice. It does look like a taxi. If I lived in here's my fantasy. Let me just go with me at the moment. I've got this fantasy about like living up in the hills in Andalusia in Spain, and like having one of these as a kind of classic. In my fantasy head here, I've got a daily car, which is like a boring car that just does the supermarket runs. But if I fancy taking the 123, I'll take the 123. So I think that'd be really cool. And in somewhere like southern Spain, that would look really, really cool. I just think in the UK, it's just going to look a bit boring. I think I'm going to be bored owning that.
I think the thing about that, though, is you're driving a classic every day. So you do get that kind of classic experience all the time because you could use it as a daily.
Yeah, but it's just too, I don't know. I can't think I'd get that excited driving that down the road to a car meet.
I tell you what, you are one picky git. It's really hard work.
Have you just noticed?
Okay, here's a few more suggestions from DT McMurty.
Right, okay.
I'm going to quickfire these at you.
Yep.
Saab 99 Turbo.
Oh, okay, that's not a bad shout. Yeah, I could wear a polar neck, couldn't I, on that one?
Citron Yellow. I don't know why he's specific about the colour. MGB GT.
Nah.
Good choice because lots of parts, availability.
No. And also, no.
Mark 1 Lotus Cortina.
I've seen one of these up close, actually, and it was quite cool, but after about 5 minutes, I got bored with it.
Jaguar XFR, the V8.
Oh, the saloon. It's too modern. Too modern.
A 1940 Buick Century.
Oh, that was your first car, wasn't it? That's a bit random.
And I don't recommend this, but he does a TVR.
Yeah. Do you know what? I can't get excited about TVRs. But yeah, so good suggestions. I mentioned Mr. Doberbenz earlier. He's banging the drum for guess what Benzes. He says, if you want reliability and easy to find parts, have a look at the Mercedes 108, 109, 114 and 115.
Oh, everything then.
108 and 119 are the 60s S-classes, aren't they? They're too big. They won't fit in my garage. Love them. Won't fit in the garage. 114, 115, as we talked about earlier, I really like them. I've yet to drive one that feels any good. They would fit in my garage, and I do want one at some point. I'm not sure whether I'm feeling the urge right now. But he also says he's got another couple. If budget allows, a Lancia 2000 Coupe.
Rust.
That's true. Or a Fiat Dino.
Rust and left-hand drive.
And 300 grand. But apart from that...
No, the Dinos are coming down in price, actually.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Fiat Dino, not Ferrari.
Fiat Dino, yeah, not the Ferrari. The Fiat Dino went through a kind of surge because it had the Dino engine, but then it's come back down to earth a bit now. But still left-hand drive, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, hold on. DT McMurty's still thinking of stuff.
God, he's still going, is he? Oi, love, shut up.
Right, I'm gonna try them on you. Citroen CX.
Oh, no. Boring.
No, I wouldn't say they're boring. Citroen XM, he says. Now, that's boring. Because that was a more boring CX. I'd rather have a CX rather than an XM. Fiat Coupe or a Barchetta. Now, I like Barchettas.
Too small. And Barchettas are left-hand drive only as well.
And too small is the problem because I can't get the seat back far enough in a Barchetta. I always fancied Barchetta, but my head would stick above the windscreen and that's too small. 350
Monroe has given you a backhanded compliment.
So
he suggests another Sunbeam for you.
Okay.
But he says a Tiger, not the Alpine, as they're, in his words, so much better. None taken.
That's a bit rude. No, Tigers are nice. The prices have softened on those. And I do fancy one. But it's just to be too samey in terms of style, isn't it? I mean, in terms of drive, completely different.
I've got a great one here. Boygould 2020 on Instagram has the final word on your search. Thank God. He says, the problem is Max already has the perfect choice. The Mercedes R107 SL. It has everything you want. Chrome, tick. Auto box, well built, tick. And cool. Even cooler with me in it. So, yeah. I mean, basically, you've missed the boat because I went to buy it first.
Well, you have bought it. And my mate Brian's got one and he got it before you, and I've always liked it. Actually, funnily enough, the driving position's a bit odd for me in that. It's the right size car, but the driving position, I'm too hunched against the steering wheel in that. But I would get one. I would go for the one that he's got over yours, though, and you're not going to like this. I think the 70s ones look nicer, and I think the V8 is more fun. They don't drive as tightly.
The V8 is nice, but it is a lot more money to maintain, and also the 70s ones just rust and rust and rust.
Well, yeah, but just for a runaround for a couple of years. I mean, you get the coloured hubcaps, you get that MB Tex, you got the lower profile front, more drippy, bit rusty, bit cheaper. So I do fancy one of those. I just think it's going to be quite a boring podcast if we've both got the same car, isn't it?
Well, I don't think that's down to the car choice. It's just a boring podcast. However, you just described the W123 Merc I showed you earlier that you turned your nose up at. This is perfect.
But the 107 is a 60s car essentially, wasn't it? It was designed in the late 60s. It's got more chrome on it and stuff. By the time the 123 came around, it was more plastified and rubberized, and it's just not as fun. As I say, in the right context, if I had that in abroad and I was touring around Malta or Spain or Cyprus or something, and it's fantastic. 123, yes, all day long. But just in the UK, I just think we've got such an abundance of good classic cars here. I just think if you pulled that up in a field, I'm just not going to get excited about it, either driving it there or talking about it.
I have just actually started filling out a form to enter the competition for World's Most Picky Man because I've never heard so many different qualifications for why you can't buy a certain car.
Are you not entering then?
I won last year.
You can't do two in a row, can you? Well, I need to get my act together. I mean, I'm not that picky. I just know what I want. And look, I've got certain things I can't do anything about. My height, I can't do anything about. And my size of my garage, I can't do anything about. So I can't buy a Silver Shadow. We talked about that; it's too big. And then I can't get in some stuff, which is a slight problem. It's always a compromise, though, isn't it? Buying a car is always a compromise. You never get exactly what you want.
Yeah, but I mean, the good thing about this is you only need to buy it for kind of 2 or 3 years and get it out of your system. Because how long did you have the Sunbeam for? Was that 4 years?
4 years.
4 years, yeah, okay. So I reckon, do something for 2 or 3 years and then do something different.
But what, though?
Oh, God, not this again. Now, we've talked at length about buying a classic car, but when you sell your car, as you've just done, Matthew, you have to prepare for the inevitable tyre kickers. So what's the best way of prepping the car for sale? Can you literally polish in a profit, or is it best to show the car as is, warts and all? Now, you've just sold your car, and I'm always on the cusp of buying. So first of all, how did you prepare yours for the big sales event?
Well, yeah, it's a very good question, because I think people, and being on the other end of it, I can see the mistakes people are making, and I tried not to make them. And we're doing everything online. That's the first thing to say. So you need to think in that mindset. When we book a holiday, for example, now, what do? You look at the first, 3 to 5 photos. And by that point, within 2 or 3 seconds, you've made your mind up whether you like that or don't like it. And I think it's the same with cars. So you need great photos from the off. Don't compromise. I mean, there's some terrible photography on some of these car adverts. Literally, somebody's gone out in the driveway and just stood at waist height and gone pat, 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 and put it online.
And also, you see the reflection of the phone in the window. They can't even be bothered to get a proper angle or open the doors for the photograph. It just looks like it's locked and they're selling it for somebody else.
There's that saying, isn't there? There's an old car selling saying: if you're not on your knees, the buyer won't be pleased. Or is that from something else?
I've never heard that.
No, that's true. When you take a photo, if you're not on your knees taking that photo of the car, then it's not going to be a good photo. Now, that's not strictly true. But if you think about it, when you take a picture of a car, if you just take it at waist height, it looks crap. If you get on your knees and you get a bit further back and you zoom in, you then get that shot. The shot, really good car auctions like Historics or Iconics, they take good shots of cars. They do,
yeah. They send a photographer around, don't they, to do the proper professional photographs, and that does make the difference.
Exactly. And what they do is they get on the knees and they put on the end of a zoom lens, and they so the car proportions look good. But you don't need to be a professional photographer. But what you do need to bear in mind is when you're selling a classic car, you're selling a dream, and you're selling a lifestyle, you're selling emotion. So those first few photos need to do that. So don't take it on your drive with bins next to it. Get the car out on when the weather is good, drive it somewhere that's fairly neutral, and you'll notice that professional car sellers do this. They drive it somewhere neutral near them that hasn't got anything distracting in the background and also fits the car. With a classic car, I would say, if you can get it on a gravel drive or get it in front of a stately home or do something like that, it just adds to that sales thing. There's also, from a photography point of view...
I just want to stop you there for a sec. What dream were you selling then in that case? Some oil leaks and a whiff of E5?
I was selling a dream that you could be as cool as me.
Oh my God, that poor buyer.
Well, no, you're not. You're selling the dream of a red sports car, red 60 sports car that is going to drive you to a country pub, or you're going to take it down some B roads, and you're just going to lose yourself on a summer's evening. So I took some pictures of the car on a summer's evening. Now, with photography, there's a couple of things that are worth knowing. One, middle of the day is a terrible time to take photos. It's the worst time to take any photos of people or things because the shadows are too harsh. So always take pictures of cars at the start of the day or at the end of the day. Now, the end of the day, there's another thing called the golden hour, which is the hour before the sun sets. And that is the best time to take pictures of classic cars because the light is soft and it makes everything look really, really good. So I'd taken some pictures of the car. I gave it a clean. I took it out a few months beforehand, and I'd just taken some pictures of it. And I had those pictures, and they were my first 3 pictures, and boof, that made the impact straight away because the car looked great. Those first 3 to 5 photos are the things that you need to sell. So to go to the effort on photography, if nothing else, because how many times? Well, I was going to say, do you read the description? I bet you do at length.
I do, yeah.
Now, the other thing about description as well is, do you know what I can't stand? History lessons.
The first 2 paragraphs telling you it was launched in the 1958 Earl's Court Motor Show. Who cares?
Don't bore us, get to the chorus. The first thing you want to do in that first sentence, that first paragraph, is you need to list the stuff that makes your car unique. So for example, on a Sunbeam, you list that in fact it's got a Weber carb, that's a wanted upgrade, or you list that it's got electronic ignition, or you list the stuff that people want to see that makes your
I'm
car
surprised you
unique.
didn't go into one of those boring history lessons about you claiming it was a bomb car.
Yeah, I might have done. That was further down. But yeah, just get to the point, get to the point really quick. Now the other thing, can I come back to photography? Get rid of all the personal tat of your car. The phone holder, the charging lead, the cloths that you use to wipe it. I can't stand that stuff. It drives me bonkers because one, it shatters the dream of like it's your car. You're trying to imagine yourself in that car, aren't you? And you want to see it like looking as like a house. When you walk into a house to buy, you don't want to see other people's tat everywhere, do you? So remove all your personal tat and then take the photos, depersonalize it. And then outside, I've got my other bugbear, grill tat. Badges
Oh,
on
okay.
the
Like
grill.
you mean like badges, like AA badges and stuff?
Oh God, I can't stand those. They just look terrible. Or like really rusty rally driving lights and stuff. Just get rid of it. Just get
I do
shot
like
of
the
it.
phrase though, grill tat. That's a whole.
It's-
That's a whole. Is
Oh,
that what you're
owners-
selling on eBay by any chance?
That's what I took
Matt's
of mine.
grill tat.
Yeah. It's like owners club badges and AA badges. I know it was sort of period, but it's not period. It's just been put on to look period, and it just looks terrible, And it also ruins the line of the car. So I'd get rid of that. I'd depersonalize, take some great photos, write some copy. Don't use AI. For God's sake, don't use ChatGPT to write your car ad because it just looks terrible. You can tell it. So no model history lesson or AI garbage. I'm getting a bit ranty on this bit, aren't I?
You
But,
always have been. It's just I've mainly edited most of it out in previous episodes.
over
Maybe the
to
same
you-
one in this one.
over to
If
you
you
then.
don't hear of Matt from this moment onwards, you'll know why.
Go on then, you can have a rant then. What drives you nuts about car ads?
Well, this is from the perspective of going to buy a car. So firstly, I want a good organized service history because I went to look at a Silver Shadow a couple of years ago and they just dumped a load of receipts on the desk and I had to wade through them. And at the top of it was new tyres in 1977. Who cares? You want to look at the most modern service invoice first in chronological
Yeah,
order.
yeah.
Pretty basic.
How
Secondly,
organized do you like your service history?
I
mean,
want folders and I
Oh.
want clear plastic bits and I want detailed notes about what was done at the time. I really want to go to town on the history because that matters.
Right, okay, but you just want to see I had like a clear plastic folder, so I had one for servicing stuff, one for MOTs, or one for parts that I'd bought, and then I actually pruned a lot of stuff out. Like as you say, tires from 1977. Who cares? Get rid of that. So it's all.
Do you know the people at school who used to use different coloured pens who were sitting next to you, who always had really organised notes? I want somebody like that. I dislike them at school. No,
That's you nerd.
you haven't seen my school results. I dislike that at school, but I love that for classic cars. I want to
Yeah.
see some organisation there.
It's also a good sign as well that the buyer cares about the car. If you've taken the trouble to sort the paperwork out and you've taken the trouble to keep hold of the paperwork. I mean, I one of the things I did when I got my Alpine was it didn't have a service book because obviously it obviously a checkered past and it had been restored at some point in the
Can't
90s.
shut. It's half a Fiesta.
Yeah, that's right. So I started a service book. I just bought one off eBay and I started it. And so for the last 4-5 years, it's got stamps and details of all the work that's been done, along with the receipts for the work. So
You see, I think as well, you were saying you're selling a dream. You're selling a classic car. You're selling something with a history and a past, and you want to read about that history and past, and you want to understand it. I love seeing things about who bought the car originally and where they had it serviced and where they took it to. And I don't want, some people write every journey down in a logbook, and that's a bit extreme even for me. But I do like this sense of I want to see how the car has lived.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually. I mean, you get like a kick out of that. I come at it from another angle. It's almost like a risk mitigation thing for me. So I'm coming in from the car and I think, right, okay, what they're trying to hide, and I want that paperwork always squashes the bugs, bugs of doubt, really. So if they've got 4 years or 5 years of servicing and I can see what's been done on it, then I'm thinking, okay, that's okay. And then I'm thinking, okay, so they bought the parts from there. Okay, well, they've done the stuff that needed doing. So I'm always like just bringing the odds down of that car being a nightmare. That's what I want to see. But the chronological thing for me is just being able to see that stuff quickly and easily. And also, if they've put it together in a book, then I kind of think, okay, they do care about it. But I don't really
care
get
for
much
something.
pleasure looking at parts lists from Moss Bros or whatever it is, Rimmer Brothers or whatever.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not.
Yes, please. My other
That's
thing.
why you're a nerd.
My other thing is dealers should be nice. Now, this is an example from when I was buying my Merc SL. I live just outside Cirencester. I emailed the dealer 3.5 hours drive north with some questions about a car he had for sale, a Merc SL. So this was his email response to my questions, which were perfectly pleasant. He said, judging by your questions, no, it was really polite email.
Okay,
Judging
cool.
by your questions, he said, you've not seen many examples. Oh, wrong. Or did you get your questions from a forum? Remember, this is a dealer replying to a potential customer. A lot of rotten nonsense, he says, can be found on forums by amateurs and idiots talking nonsense.
Boggle podcasts.
He says, if you're a genuine buyer, you should make an appointment to see the car and not email questions. I mean, this is my first experience of this dealer, and he's slagging me off on email. I don't think that's a good start. Let's just say I didn't buy a car from him.
That's not. Do you know what? I phoned somebody up about. That's not good at all, and I think they deserve not to sell that car. I reckon you probably knew it was you, to be honest. But I phoned somebody about doing some suspension on that Alpine a couple of years ago, and I found out. So could you give me a rough? I think it's this. Could you give me a rough idea? And the guy was so moany about it. I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to give you the work. There is not everybody. Most people you deal with in the classic car world, mechanics and people you deal with on that sort of back end of it are really nice in my experience. But there is a moany contingent. There is a sort of group of people who are like, they're hard done by. Not much money in this game. Well, there's not if you have that attitude. And I think you've got to, people are time wasters. There are a lot of time wasters around. But I think if you're a genuine buyer.
Well, in the end, I bought a Merc SL, just not from him.
Yeah.
So this is ridiculous.
No, that's not good at all. But actually, talking of which, didn't we get one of our listeners, contact us about some on the other end of it? She's a dealer, Sam at Southern Cars, and there was something on Instagram, wasn't there? Did you see that?
I did see that on Instagram. It's quite funny actually. So they were selling a Mazda MX-5 for like 4,000 quid.
It wasn't Sam, was it? It was somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, but she forwarded it. So you read out the first questions they emailed this person.
Yeah, I found it actually, mate. It's Southern Cars UK. So it's Sam at Southern Cars UK who sells classic cars. She's based up in Manchester. But yeah, she's posted this that's been doing the rounds in the trade. And it's a buyer asking ridiculous questions. So it starts off by saying, I would like to ask a few questions about your vehicle, if I may. I'm not a tyre licker. That's a new one. Probably rename this podcast. Rather, very particular about my car. So, right. Here's a load of questions. Should we flip-flop these? Okay, so here are the
next question is, have you had much interest?
Okay, fair enough. Why is the mileage so low? Are they genuine miles?
Then does it have any hidden faults or ongoing problems? Well, if it's a hidden fault, it would be hidden, wouldn't it?
Well, it would, yeah. If we were going to purchase this car, would it be reasonable to expect a few years without a major fault appearing?
It's a $4,000 MX-5. Do you have photos to support the 3 cam belt changes to prove they have been replaced in accordance with the manufacturer's specifications?
Is this you, by the way? It goes on. In the photos, the car appears to be a white or grey colour, but in the specifics is listed as a silver, which is correct.
Assuming you are the car's only owner, are you British?
Is there a reason for it having 0 previous owners?
I see rust was noted on the 2019 MOT. Has this been rectumified? A new word. Subject to satisfactory response, I'd be interested in viewing this. I bet you would. You're not coming anywhere near it.
Yeah, so I think this is probably why you got a bit short shrift, because they deal with tyre lickers like this.
Tyre lickers.
And then
things aren't rectumified.
And then that's right. And then you pop along, old Stato.
Oh, yeah.
That you've read every book. Who's that guy you always buy the books from? James Taylor, is it?
Yes, that's right. Or Martin Buckley writes a lot of guys I read.
Yeah, so you read all those, and then you get in touch with similar sort of questions. Selling a classic car is quite hard work, isn't it? Because you're not selling a new car or something.
No, not really. I don't think it is hard work. You just present a car well. That's the thing. You don't be rude to customers, for starters. You don't try all those silly kind of sales techniques where people say, "Oh, I've got somebody in half an hour coming to buy it with cash and he's desperate." Please, it's not double glazing. It's not timeshare in Spain. Just respect the fact that customers are probably grown-ups.
You've got this thing about the test drive route, haven't you? You want to do a massive, great test drive, and I don't think that's always realistic. But I think you should
I don't do a massive, great test drive. All I do is have a look at the map and go on a test drive route of my choosing, because otherwise the test drive route is chosen to flatter the car, i.e., no traffic, no dual carriageways, for example. So I always try and throw a bit of traffic in, a dual carriageway, even a little bit of motorway. And I've been to plenty of dealers who like that. They want to show off a decent car. But if somebody won't let you go on your own test drive route, then that's a flashing neon sign saying, don't buy this car.
Yeah, it's also when you're selling as well, just don't talk all the time unless your car still starts making weird noises, and then talk quite a lot.
One other thing I want to say about buying is just the prices, because you see dealers, and we've touched on this a few times just in this episode. Some dealers ask just ridiculous prices for their cars. And I always use the Haggerty price guide and just go to it and see, well, what's the very top price for this car? The Concours award-winning car, 40 grand, for example. Then I just say to the dealer, well, if that's the top price, explain to me what the extra money is on this car for. So what is so much better on this car? And I think they have to, if they're going to ask ridiculous prices, they've got to justify them.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. If you're just going, well, it's a bit much, I'll offer you half of that, then they're going to give you the old two-finger salute, aren't they? But whereas if you've got something to back it up, you say, oh, look, I've looked at Haggerty, I've looked at the market, stuff is around sort of £5,000 cheaper. What's special about this one? Then that's quite a good one. That's a good solid argument to get some money off. The problem with pricing is that they call it a price anchor, don't they? That the first person to anchor the price then sets it, and then you kind of think, oh, well, I want to get 10% off that, and it's actually that price might be wide of the mark anyway. What about timing? Is there a better time to sell your car? So we're talking about how to make more polishing and a profit and doing that. So we're talking better photos, better copy, tidy your car up, sort it out, know what your prices are. When's the time to sell it? I suppose a convertible is spring, isn't it?
But I think everything is in spring in the classic car market, because realistically, you don't drive any classic car through the winter with the salt. And also, you do get quite a short window really now in the spring of wanting to sell your car because people want to buy it. Because you're looking at March, April, May, June, and that's probably it, isn't it? The whole country shuts down these days in the school holidays in kind of like late July and August. And then by September, you've kind of missed that season. So classic car selling and classic car buying is a bit like deck chairs on the beach. You really do have quite a short season. So I think, particularly if you're selling, it's got to be ready for the spring. But if you're buying, I think the time to look is just before Christmas, because it's the time of maximum depression, or that period between Christmas and New Year, actually, where just nothing's happening. Dealers have got a long January, February, March to get through. I think that's probably the time to strike, the pre-Christmas cheeky offer.
Yeah, you're talking as a buyer though now. We're talking as a seller here. But you're right. I was into boats, as you know, for a long time, and I had got a couple of engines that I still have nightmares about. But they always said the best time to buy a boat is when the ice is cracking under your feet, because the dealers will bite your hand off if you make an offer. So if you're buying a car, that's the best thing. If you're selling, it's the worst time to sell. Get your car ready, especially if it's a sports car or convertible. Get it ready for Easter weekend. It's the same in boating as well. Soon as boating and convertibles and ice creams and garden furniture, it's always Easter weekend, because people go, what happens in Britain is like, if you live in Britain, you'll know this, but the weather is just terrible, isn't it? Until about mid-April, and then suddenly it goes, and then suddenly the sun comes out and everybody just starts burning red. But also they start thinking about all the stuff they didn't think about, convertible cars, classic cars, all that sort of stuff. So I would say get all your ducks in a row if you're selling for that Easter weekend, and get your car ready to go, and it will go quick. That's the best time to do it. And if you're buying, obviously the opposite of that. But yeah, I mean, all this sort of stuff. I mean, we've obviously had a rant here, but this is if you're thinking of selling your car now. I mean, what are we in? We're in the end of July now.
So you missed the boat.
Well, I think you have. I'm looking for a car, and I'm.
Yeah, but you sold yours in the spring. I mean, you did the right thing by selling it in the spring. I think you should probably wait, to be honest, until the winter, because that's when the prices of classic cars really fall.
You correctly identified last time that I'm very impulsive, so that's not going to happen, is it? I mean, I'm already thinking there's like an event this weekend that I'm going to miss because I haven't got a car. I might go and buy one tomorrow. Just buy anything, the old rubbish that I can find. But no,
there's plenty of rubbish out there. Don't worry, you've driven most of it. It sounds like.
Yes, I mean, hopefully there's some useful tips in amongst all that ranting. But I think depersonalize your car, get some good photos. Honestly, spend some time on the photos. The photos will sell your car. Be on it. Be realistic about the pricing. Haggerty's a good shout, actually. I hadn't thought of that, and I have looked at it before. And Haggerty, if you go on Haggerty's website, as Max says, they've got pretty much all the classic cars, haven't they?
Well, it's all the data. This is the interesting thing. This is a data-based website. So you're looking at prices that have been achieved. And so when you go and buy something, you can say, well, why is it 15 grand more than the last one?
Yeah.
Because it's unlikely to be so much better. So I think that's particularly in the market at the moment where you do get some dealers asking silly prices. That is the key point of research, isn't it? Go and find those price guides and work out why that car is being asked 15 grand more.
Yeah, you're more of a dealer person. I'm more of a buy it off the driveway person. I think the prices are different. I think the other thing I'd probably just add as a seller is don't look necessarily at the prices that are on, Car and Classic and those sort of kind of websites and take those as your anchor point, because if that car's been on the market at that price and it's not sold, there's a reason for that, and probably the price is too high. So bear in mind that when you're looking at car prices, they're not necessarily the prices that they're selling, they're the asking prices. So look at Haggerty, be realistic about what yours is worth, and don't. I think the other thing, that it's a horrible thing to say, but your car is not worth what you've spent on it. It's when you spend on a car, you congratulate. It's like a house. You can spend 30,000 on the extension, but it's not necessarily going to put 30,000 on your house. It might put more, it might put less. So, for example, in my car, my Alpine, I redid the interior and the dashboard. Now, I spent more than that's earned me, but it does lift the car up slightly in terms of price, but it's not what you spent on. And a couple of those cars I looked at, one of the stag, the guy was on about how much he'd spent on it. I've spent this and I've spent that, and these
Irrelevant.
are worth blah blah blah. It's irrelevant.
Pointless.
It's irrelevant. The market will decide. So hopefully there's some useful advice in that. If you've got some useful advice for us,
Shut up.
talking nonsense. Do get in touch. We're on your side really, and we're on it from both sides really. So if you've got anything, any advice, you can get in touch. Here's how to do it.
Want to contact the show? Send your ideas, comments and corrections to thetirekickersuk@gmail.com.
Well, yes, you're listening to episode 36 of The Tyre Kickers. Still to come, we'll ask whether classic car clubs are brilliant or just a bit boring. But first, let's get into the mailbag, Max, and let's hear what you guys have been saying.
And this time, a lot of the chat is about breakdowns. Now, last episode, we talked about my long list of classic car clapouts, and it seems I'm not alone.
Yeah, Lee Hussein has got in touch to say he's just recently bought a 70s Alpha Spider. He's been after one for a while, he says. He did the deal and he got it transported to his house. All good so far, but within an hour of driving it, Max, the accelerator got stuck on full revs while he was on the move. Now, he says, luckily it was on a quiet road or it might have killed me. But he got it stopped and parked up, and then he got what you dread, your first mechanic's bill. So that's the joys of owning a classic car, isn't it? Oh, God. Hopefully it's all right from now.
John O'Sullivan describes a trip in his Mitsubishi Pajero towing a Series McRae Impreza when the four-wheel drive on his Pajero stuck and broke the prop shaft at night when it's snowing. Luckily, he fixed the prop shaft with his shoelace. What's this, MacGyver? And made it home to Cork. Fun times. The thing about when you break down, you do always get there in the end, just a bit more delayed and annoyed.
Mark Palmer also got in touch on Facebook. Similar sort of thing, Max. He said he had a drive shaft snap on a 67 VW split screen in 2004, just up the road from Land's End. He said, luckily, though, like you say, he got it sorted. He had a very comprehensive VW classic car toolkit, which he describes as an AA card and a mobile phone.
Normally with those split screens, it's a fire extinguisher you need, isn't it? Because they always burst into flames. 350 Monroe on Insta says, many, many years ago, coming home from school in my first car, the gearbox went. My dad came to tow me home, and midway through the tow chain broke and left me stranded in the middle of a busy road junction. My dad quickly did a U-turn, drove the wrong way up the road against the traffic to hook me up again. The traffic was bearing down in every direction, but my dad was as cool as a cucumber. He chained me up again and drove off like nothing had happened.
Wow. And Boy Gould 2020 also on Insta says, a friend of mine had a Mark 1 Astra. Now, he blew a fuse replacing the radio. It was a Sunday and the shops were shut, so I told him to use the cooling fan fuse and just replace it, the next couple of days. He said 6 months later, though, at the height of summer in a traffic jam on the A55, the top radiator hose blew, and then only did he remember about the fuse.
Oh, yeah, you remember then and think, oh, too late. Also, you put a shot on Instagram of an old red Porsche on the hard shoulder, a 60s 911. I did a double take, except it wasn't mine.
It looks exactly like your
It
one.
did, yeah, and I've been on the hard shoulder a few times, so I did feel sorry. What was the story behind that?
It was just parked up, abandoned on the central reservation of an A road in Surrey, and I looked it up, and it was like it sold for 70 grand. That car, it was a 70 grand paperweight in the middle of the thing. So obviously it clapped out, and it just been abandoned and pushed up onto this grass central reservation. So it was there for another day, and then it went. So they obviously got it started. But yeah, they're good though. Those old 911s, the hand warmers, aren't they?
Yeah. But here's a good tale. Not all old cars let you down. Sometimes they're better than modern ones. Oily Bragg got in touch to say, chaps, listening to episode 35 on using a classic as a daily, I swapped my modern Jag S-Type for a Rover P4 110 and ended up daily driving it as my modern failed its MOT. I wouldn't change a thing. Now, he sent me the pictures of the Rover. It's a beautiful two-tone, light blue, dark blue P4. Now, I do love two-tone cars. It's that hint of racy and respectability at the same time.
Yeah, good on you. If you're using that P4 as a daily, I'm too scared to do a daily, but I think if you're using it and it's reliable and it's more reliable than your modern, then good on you. It sounds a good one, Oily Brag. Thank you very much.
Nice contributions. Thank you very much. We do love your stories and your input. It's so much better than just listening to Matt bang on about painting his garage floor.
Whoa. I have to listen to you talking about chronologically ordered service history.
That is a sensible tip. Your garage floor painting, I can't imagine anything more boring.
Yeah, well, your input is really, really appreciated. Most of that stuff came through our social media channels, which are Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to know how to find them, here's how.
You can find us at The Tyre Kickers UK on Instagram and The Tyre Kickers on Facebook.
So here's the thing, classic car clubs, Max. They're what the classic car movement is all about, aren't they? Flying the flag for your favourite model, sharing knowledge and expertise, keeping parts availability strong, organising events and just generally helping to keep classics on the road. So all good, yeah? But, and here's a but, whisper this, are classic car clubs just a bit boring? I mean, I find them cliquey, clubby, nerdy, stuffed with types of people I just really don't want to get stuck with. I mean, you know the type. Let me describe that, sort of trying to visualize it, like a dull, drony Dave in millet slacks and those clip-on sunglasses blathering on about something irrelevant on his car.
Well, I think that's a bit unfair, to be honest, because you are right. Classic car clubs can be boring, but I like that. I'm a member of 3 clubs, the Mercedes, Porsche, and Rolls-Royce, because I'm looking at a Silver Shadow to buy, or a Bentley T-Series. Out of those 3 clubs, one for me isn't dull enough. Now, I won't say which one, but it's not Mercedes or Rolls-Royce.
I'm sure you add to it, though. I'm sure you bring the quota up of dullness. So what are you saying, though? It's not that you do want somebody like blathering on about, I don't know, the trim not being right, or, oh, that's a modification that wasn't in the factory. Really?
That's what I want.
Oh,
because the problem is
really boring.
The problem is that the Porsche club I used to go to, then people were attracted to that club as a brand, and people wanted to discuss their lifestyles, their holidays, their boat in Spain, their kids at private school, not old 928 S4s or 968 Club Sports. You know, the whole point for me going to a classic car club is to talk about classic cars in great detail that I can't talk about with anybody else. You know, I really like the fact they can be boring, because that's where we can all meet, because there's all that, you know, we are getting into a slight hint of being boring because we're obsessed about our cars and are interested in them. So that's what I like. You know, I go to the Mercedes clubs and we talk about the detail of R107 SLs, because, you know, sometimes the models can be quite similar, but there can be quite detail, interesting bits that are different. So that's what I like. I think you are being a little bit unfair here, because you are criticizing car clubs for the very reason they exist, because people go there to talk about their cars.
I'm just chuckling at you, going, I just want to be understood by my own type of person. No, I think the thing you say about the Porsche thing, I don't think that's a classic car. That's not classic car chat.
It's a brand club.
It's an accessory.
That's completely different.
Yeah, that's like talking about watches. People who talk about watches, I like watches, but I find chat about watches really, really dull, because they're all, you know, it's not what it's really, really about. Whereas I think that's what you're describing as that. But I think the other end of the scale is where I am, where you're with somebody. It's those people that go, oh, that's not original. You know,
that's
in your
me.
car. Yeah, it's not original. And then you go, oh, gret. Well, you've got your car, and you turn around and there's this heap of a car that's all original. Yeah, but hold on a minute. I can see it's original because your bumpers are rusty. You've got vinyl peeling off your dashboard.
No, because you've become that polishing queen now, haven't you? Because I think these cars tell a story, and the people like to tell the story of the car, because this is the interesting bit, isn't it? You know, it's scars and it's chips and it's life and it's history. You know, that's why it's a classic car. And that's why I like the clubs, because you can exchange that kind of information. Go across and see somebody else's car, which has got dents and a life in a different way, in a different past. And I think that's the point. You may think that's boring. I think that's what I like about the clubs.
Do you not think the classic car clubs attract a certain type of person? I mean,
Yes,
any club. No, yeah, but no. Like the passive aggressive anorak. You know, the passive aggressive. That's not original kind of person. They do attract those sort of people. And whenever I see a car club, I watched I don't want to say which car club it is, but I watched something on YouTube recently. It was a car club, and there were some people talking about it, and I just thought, God, you're out central casting. You're right, really nerdy people I just don't want to get stuck with. You're dull. You're really dull. You want to talk about your car. You want to drone on about your car. I want to go and have a pint and a laugh and or a coffee and a bacon roll and go and have a laugh about cars. I'm really, really interested in other people's cars. I just don't want to be lectured at by passive aggressive people.
I think what you're kind of like, where you're coming from is you want to go to car clubs which aren't model specific. You want to just go to generic classic car meets. And I really like those as well, because you can bump into people. I met somebody who had a Mark II VW Polo G40, I think is the supercharged one. We had a chat for an hour just about the detail of VW Polos in the 1980s. And that was great, because it wasn't a specific model or mark club. It was just a let's chat about your car club. And that's good.
That poor person, an hour talking to you about...
He loved it.
Oh, God.
Supercharged VW Polos. I used to love them. I think there was a G40 and was there a G60 Corrado as well? I mean, they were fantastic cars. And so, yeah, we talked about it for ages.
Yeah, I like the variety of seeing different cars. What I'm not in a willy waving contest about, my car's better than yours, it's more original. And I say half the time where I've been in that chat where somebody says, oh, I don't think that's original. And you look at the car and you just think your car is terrible. And you're slagging off mine, And I just think I'm not interested in that at all. But I think it's the same sort of people that occupy forums. I think you'll find it's a Mark 2.1. It's not. So,
that's me.
Go away. Oh, yeah. Is that what you? Oh, that was you, was it? Oh, right. Okay. I mean, I have a problem with like national days as well, and like meetups, and Mark specific national days away or residentials or meetup. Oh my God.
Well, that's a disappointment, because I've just bought you a ticket to the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow National Day meetup.
God.
Have I just wasted 16 quid?
Well,
Should I be looking for somebody else?
I don't mind it if I can leave. I've got this thing about car meets where I like to be able to leave. I like to see the exits. Like a spy or an assassin, I like to be able to see all the exits. I can get out quickly. I don't like to be stuck anywhere, but the thought of going to like a residential or something or a single mark car club is just not my idea of fun.
But that is the ticket I've bought you for August, which is the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow Brooklyn celebration.
Okay, well, thank you.
I have now ruined the surprise, but yeah, possibly wisely, because you ain't coming.
I'm going to have to be on my best behaviour. Now, I can't get excited about that. I like the variety of cars. I tell you what, though, in a positive way, that the car clubs that I quite like are the ones on Facebook now. So I don't necessarily want to join the car club, although we can argue that actually you should be supporting your mark, because it does keep you going with parts, it does keep you going with the device, and it keeps the sort of movement going. So maybe like 20 quid a year, it's probably a good idea to spend, because you get a key ring in a book, in a magazine or whatever. Even if you're not going to go to the events, it's probably a good thing sort of morally to do to support your car. However, I think the spin-off like Facebook groups I've found really, really useful. The Sunbeam Alpine one, the Facebook group, is really, really good. And that's a spin-off of the car club. So I didn't get massively involved with the car club, but I found the people on there were really friendly and really useful. So that was good.
You are missing out on this, because I've just recently joined the Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club, and I'm holding in my hand a Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club genuine beer mat. Now, you don't get that in your Facebook club, do you?
That's put your warm ale on. With sherry. Each to their own, and different strokes, different folks. And I don't, as I say, that for the reasons I've described, I don't really like the single mark meetups. I don't really like. However, as I've just said, I think there is a sort of a moral thing. If you are running a model of car, I think it's probably worth supporting your club with your patronage in terms of your sub every year, because it will keep them going. Because a lot of the stuff actually, like with a lot of these old 60s cars and stuff, they're actually remanufacturing the bits. The clubs are making the bits, aren't they? Or keeping the tooling going and that sort of stuff. So those hard to find bits are actually still on the shelf because of the club. So if you don't join the club and the club ceases to exist, then those sort of things do go away. And there is a knowledge and expertise, but just the nerdiness I have a problem with, really.
Whatever car you come to buy, I can't wait for you turning up for the first model specific show, because they'll be waiting for you with pitchforks. Get him!
Think they're right or think they're wrong? Shoot us a note on our socials and let us know. We're at the Tyre Kickers UK on Insta and the Tyre Kickers on Facebook.
Well, you'll be relieved to know that's it for this episode. We may not be invited to any classic car clubs ever again.
Now, remember what that dealer said to me, a lot of rot from amateurs and idiots talking nonsense.
He obviously listens to this.
Coming up in the next show.
More on my classic car hunt. I'm hoping I'll be back in the fold with a new classic before it's winter.
In the meantime, spread your rotten nonsense on our Facebook and Instagram pages. And see you next time.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Tire Kickers. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts.
That was very ranty, wasn't it?
Very ranty from you. I think.
Well, no.
Have you not taken any medicine? Is there something wrong?
I've just come back off holiday. I'm supposed to be chilled.
That's why.
You've set me off. You're one of those passive aggressive nerds I was talking about.
I think we know that, don't we?